Greetings. In our time, we're seeing and witnessing the rise of Africa, the African continent, that so-called sleeping giant. We're witnessing our people finally ruling their destiny once and for all, putting an end to modern-day slavery and exploitation of Africa. We have seen several assassinations since 2020. Now we're at front row at the wind of change. We stand in solidarity. I stand in solidarity with Burkina Faso, with Niger, Cameroon, and every oppressed nation of the African continent. What are we doing here in the region? Let us stand with Africa. The same thing that's happening in Africa is the same that's happening all across the region. We stand with Africa. We stand with those who want to be free, because we know we are not free here in the West. Yes? So we desire the freedom of all Africa, because if Africa is free, then the black man is eventually free and will be free. These are the words of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, and all of our freedom fighters. Celebrate this day when the African continent is finally losing its chains, both mentally, physically, and economically. We salute you, Maluma, and all the fighters, Tuare, and all the good fighters, Babi, and all the good fighters who are fighting for freedom and liberation, because your freedom will ultimately determine our freedom. Once Africa is free, we're all free. My people in the region, witness and take note. The time is now.
Algiers is the capital of Algeria. Monrovia's the one for Liberia. The one in Central African Republic is Bangui. Seychelles, Victoria, Rwanda's Kilgali. Ethiopia's seat is Addis Ababa. Nouakchot's capital of Mauritania. The capital of Ghana's Accra, Kenya's Nairobi. Uganda's Kampala, Gitega, Burundi. Then there's Juba, South Sudan. Khartoum is in regular Sudan. Benin's capital is Porto Novo. Maseru's the one in Lesotho. These are the capitals of Africa. Gonna take some time to get through them, cause there are 54.
I mean, if you don't know the reason why we are here, I mean, I am here because of Prof, even though my goal is to travel every African country, but I believe that I came here because of Prof, because I believe in what Prof is doing. You know, I think the first time I met you, I told you I'm not a big fan. Yeah. You know, I was so bold that day, and I told Prof, I'm not a big fan of you, because I really want to know that with all the speeches that you're giving across the continent, what are you doing? But after this meeting in Malawi, I'm your #1 fan.
Thank you.
No, tell them what you've done that they don't know in Malawi.
What we are trying to do across Africa with Malawi as the hub is to marry our words with our deeds. We have been in Malawi, we've met President Chakwera, senior government officials, and we have a delegation of over 50 people drawn from 13 different African countries and coming to Malawi and say, we want to invest in agriculture, we want to invest in education, we want to invest in technology, we want to invest in every sector, we want to green Malawi, and that is what we are going to do, not only in Malawi, but across the continent of Africa, to demonstrate to the world and to ourselves that we can do it. And we will do it.
Do you agree with Kwame Nkrumah that a black man is capable of managing his own affairs?
Oh, without doubt. The disruptions notwithstanding, I have no doubt in my mind that we are going to demonstrate to ourselves and to the world that we can feed ourselves, that we can run our affairs, and that those who have been doubting us will be shocked at the manner in which we do it, responsibly, with pride and humility at once.
You are demonstrating to the fact that an African can be an investor in Africa.
Oh yeah, there's this idea which is misguided that an investor must be somebody who has come with bags of money from Europe, America, and China. That is misguided. These are individuals who may come here, they may invest, but ultimately what is at the back of their mind is to benefit their countries. But when an African invests in Africa, he or she is doing it for the benefit of self, but for the benefit of Africa and Africans, and that, in my view, is sustainable. We must and we will stop begging, because this is the mother continent. Tell me what is not here. From human resource to natural resource, from arable land to adequate rain, the most even killed weather anywhere in God's created world.
I believe you've been to 50 countries in Africa, and you will agree with me that leadership in Africa got problems. I don't know if you agree with me.
Oh, I can't agree more with you. The problem of Africa, simply stated, is one of leadership at the political level. Remember, post-colonization, we inherited systems of governance which are alien to us. And the men and women whom we put into office or rig themselves into political office are individuals who, on a scale of 1 to 10, only 3 are interested in the continent of Africa or in their countries in a manner that is beneficial to the people. That is why we have no shortage of thieves in public office. We have no shortage of murderers in public office. We have no shortage of nepotists. We have no shortage of tribalists in public office. And that is the single thing that we must sort out. The day we sort out the problem of leadership in Africa, that is the day Africa will realize our potential. And it must be done, and it must be done quickly, and we must speak about and against it, because if we don't, then these individuals, these demigods, will always try to destroy the continent for this generation and generations yet to be born.
You said they rigged their way to office.
Most of the time.
So which means it's so real.
Oh, yeah, I mean, these fellows rig themselves into office, most of them. And they manipulate the ballot box, and when they manipulate the ballot box, then they create resentment. And when they create resentment, then they themselves become afraid of the population which they claim elected them into public office. And that is tragic.
Prof, you said African leaders are demigods.
Yes.
Why do you say so?
They are demigods because most of them want to be worshipped rather than to serve. And let me say that there are quite a number of African leaders who are good. There are people in Africa, and they are there, and they have been there, who have had the continent at heart. But the tragedy is that they are few and far between. When we talk about leadership, we are talking about politicians.
Yeah.
We are talking about so-called elected politicians in many countries. And there are quite a number of countries in this regard. You go to Tanzania, you see some good work is being done there. In Rwanda, some good work is being done there. In Botswana, some good work is being done there. But they are few and far between. We want an Africa that works, an Africa that functions, an Africa where people go into office because they want to serve, not to be served. That Africa is the Africa that we are now running around the continent and telling leadership and urging leadership to create with our help. These are individuals who go to office on the promise that they are going to deliver. And as I've said before, and I repeat it again, one of the shortest avenues to acquisition of material wealth is the political arena in Africa. And that is why we see our agriculture is not doing well, our education is not doing well, our health sectors are not doing well. But in the few countries where leadership is committed, you can see that things are happening in a proper manner.
Are you proud of the African Union?
No, I'm not proud of the African Union. I think it is a body that is weak. It is a body that is manipulated. It is a body that doesn't do the right thing. And we have seen the many conflicts that are taking place in Africa, whether it's in Sudan or Southern Cameroons or in Ethiopia. They are as silent as silence can be. That is a body that must be revamped. It is a body that must have men and women who are crusaders, men and women who are not cowards, men and women who are prepared to sacrifice for the continent. It is a body that is crying for change.
Based on popular demand, we want to make you the new AU chairman. Prof, I'm not joking, you know, the youth of Africa, you see, like you have so much influence on the continent.
Yeah.
Like I posted a picture with you.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, I think you have made it in life just by taking a photo with Prof. And somebody commented that, can we make Prof the AU chairman? Prof, are you interested in this role?
You know, my own view is Africa needs sons and daughters who will serve her. If Africa summons us to serve, we will serve Africa.
Bring the camera to me. We're looking for people who are ready to serve Africa. And I believe Prof can serve Africa. Prof, I want to be your main campaign manager.
Yes.
Getting into the AU house.
Yes.
Are you okay with it? Okay, I just got a new job, yeah?
Thank you.
I just got a new job. So, Prof, I mean, it starts today.
Yeah.
The video gets uploaded. And you all need to, what do we need to do? How do you get people into AU?
We'll find out.
No, I need to do research about that. We're going to make it
research.
happen. And I believe that each and everyone watching me right now, I mean, agrees with me. Let me know in the comment section, should we make Prof the new AU chairman? I mean, the #1 fan in here. Who else? Let me know in the comment section. I'm just going to put all the links that will make it possible in the description. Prof, we are getting you to AU. You're getting you to AU. I mean, Prof does not have enough time. But my last question, if you have a message for Africans, what would that message be?
Africa must be great. And she'll only be great if her sons and daughters make the decision to make her great. And we must make her great in governance, in agriculture, in health, in education. And we must eliminate the many boundaries, eliminate the visas, create one currency. Africa must unite.
Prof, it's so expensive to travel within Africa.
I'm Patrice Davis, the host of the show, and like many other people, I started my business in 2020. I started my business when I was 48, and now that I'm 51, approaching 52, I can say it changed my life for the better. Welcome to the Age Has No Limit podcast. Let's talk about starting a business. It may be the life redesign that you're looking for.
It's the Age Has No Limit podcast. We're here to show and prove that your age shouldn't prevent you from designing and living the life you want. I'm your host, Patrice Davis. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the show. My name is Patrice Davis. Again, I'm the host of the Age Has No Limit podcast. In today's episode, We're going to talk about starting a business in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even older. And we're going to talk about a new trend called silver entrepreneurship. We're going to start there. So I started reading articles to prepare for this episode about silver entrepreneurship, a new buzzword. And I say it's new, but actually it's been around for some time. One of the first places where I saw this was in a 2008 article where there was a talk about how silver entrepreneurship is, a new trend. I mostly saw these in UK publications. I found some other articles in Malaysia and a few others about how silver entrepreneurship is a new trend because not everyone wants to aim for retirement, or maybe they want what's called an active retirement. And silver entrepreneurship is the term that was used to describe folks that are taking that path. So I also learned that there is a program at New Mexico Community College that's called the Silver Entrepreneurship Initiative. And that's also one of the places in the US that I was able to find where they actually use the term and actually has an institute devoted to that. Then there's also the Global Institute for Experienced Entrepreneurship in Maine. Then I was able to find in the beautiful island of Aruba, another workshop that was hosted in Aruba called the Silver Entrepreneurship Workshop for Retirees and Soon to Be Retirees. The idea and the reason for bringing all of these examples to the fore was to help you understand that there is a movement and there are other retirees, soon to be retirees, and folks in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and older who are actually considering this. And many of them, of course, are taking action, so much so that their actions and their efforts and their goals are being, they're being tracked, for lack of a better word. They're being noticed. And as a result, there are institutes that are being formed around this trend. And again, even universities are trying to establish institutes and programs for people that want to start their business as they age. There's an article in Science Direct called "The Pursuit of Entrepreneurship in the Silver Age for Malaysian Silver Entrepreneurs." Finally, Forbes magazine also published an article in 2002 debunking the myth about the difficulty of launching a business in your 50s. They actually cited a study from Babson College that revealed that 1 in 4 over the age of 65 possess what they call an entrepreneurial intention, and that 1 in 5, that's 20%, of the age of people at the age of 50 feel the same. So this isn't new. It can be done. It is being done. Institutes, programs, and workshops are being developed to accommodate folks that want to do this. And so if this is something that you've been thinking about, just know that you're not alone, and there are places out there that you can seek this information and seek this support. So in fact, what we're going to talk about now are the mindset shifts that you'll need to make when you actually start or launch a business, if this is actually a part of your life redesign. So on my website, Ready, Set, Go Consult, and that's one of my websites. I also have another website for GrantsWorks, my consulting business that I started when I was 48 years old. I actually share all the time tidbits about being an entrepreneur, being a consultant, ways, strategies to enhance your marketing, to generate leads, just a number of articles. But I do remember writing an article called How to Start a Consulting Business for Under $500. And so I took some tips from that article to make sure that we talked about, ways that you can actually start a business. I also wrote another article about mindset shifts that one needs to make when you're shifting from an employee to an employer. And so I have a few here that I'd like to feature on this episode.
Hey there, good looking people. It's your girl, Patrice. And this time I'm going back to the board, and we're going to talk about ways that you can shift your thinking from that of an employee to an entrepreneur. So let's start off by looking at two things: your mental attitude or inclination. The second is an established established set of attitudes. Those are two different definitions for the word mindset. So shifting your mindset to that of an entrepreneur is the first thing. So that means you're no longer thinking about your former employer's objectives, your former employer's goals. You're thinking about your company's objectives, your company's goals, your company's innovation, your company's services. The second is, of course, you want to educate yourself about your industry so that you're joining professional organizations, you're joining discussion groups and participating. You're going to conferences, but instead of going as an employee, you're going as a representative of your company. The third, of course, is to create processes and systems. The fourth is, of course, amping up your personnel accountability. And the fifth is to know and track your KPIs, your key performance indicators.
Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your contacts. Thank you.
Because we sell our Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa Robutsenya
of the economic emancipation movement for the South of Mandela. My task is a simple task.
Greetings again, brothers and sisters and cousins of the other races who support our struggle for economic equality.
In August of this year, 2023, the BRICS countries had their 15th annual summit in South Africa. The countries, of course, are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The most important result of that meeting was that 6 new countries were admitted as members or will be admitted as members in January of next year. The 6 countries are Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. Its capital, of course, is well known as Dubai. There are about 30 other countries that want to join BRICS, and because BRICS is an alternative to the North America and Europe, their domination of the financial and economic system, and the domination of the US dollar and the euro currency. BRICS as its own is in the process of coming up with its own currency, and an important discussion is comparing the BRICS currency with the African continental currency, which is a currency that is supposed to be used in the African community, African free trade area. And once these currencies become well known and established, they will replace to a large extent the US dollar and the euro, and a number of countries are already abandoning the US dollar and trading with their own currency.
Here's why so many countries are abandoning the dollar. In recent days, 6 major economies have announced they're no longer trading in the US dollar, using their own currencies instead. These are Russia, China, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, and India. For some of these countries, it's political. Russia has largely been forced out of the global economy and has been relying heavily on Chinese currency, and China would love any opportunity to weaken the US hold on the economy. Likewise, Iran is heavily sanctioned by the US, but what about the others? Brazil's new left-wing leader, President Lula, has been moving his country away from the US, but Saudi Arabia and India are both close allies. However, that doesn't mean they're immune to self-interest. The US dollar has been devalued a lot recently due to inflation and the lack of a stabilizing factor like the gold standard. But what does it mean in the long run? It means that if this trend continues, the US dollar will just be one of many currencies jockeying for prominence, but currently it's still the strongest one overall.
Well then, I grade. Me need ya, hey. I need some herb in my brain, so bring the medication for my brain to heal the whole of the nation from the pain and break up all the circles and the chains. I need some meditation in my brain, so bring the medication for my brain to heal the whole of the nation from the pain. Break up all the circles and the chain. Hey, no, this could never be no man killer. Good for my head, so me call it as the man healer. When me ill, you know me never need a painkiller. It's quite exciting, me call it as the man chiller. Give me good man, so me no think illa. What a inspiration, fit on a sound killer. For the pagan, me spark it like a 9 miller. Fi fight the liquor.
As usual, I'm going to read this slide for the benefit of people who are watching the video on cell phones and the text would be too small for them to see it. Former President of France, Jacques Chirac, in 1921 said this: "We bled Africa for 4.5 centuries. We looted their raw materials, then we told lies that the Africans are good for nothing. In the name of religion, we destroyed their culture, and after being made rich at their expense, we now steal their brains through miseducation and propaganda to prevent them from enacting black retribution against us." Over the last 3 years since 2021, there has been a number of military coups in Africa, in the French colonies of Africa, where the army kicked out the puppets, a number of African puppets that were giving away their countries to France so that France could suck out the natural resources and the blood of the people. The first one in 2021 was in Guinea, the homeland of revolutionary President Sekou Toure. And in Guinea, the current president, Colonel Mamadi, he spoke at the United Nations a few months earlier this year, 2023, in which he said he was neither against the East or against the West. He was pro-African. The second country is Mali. In Mali, the leader of that country is now Colonel Goita. Next is Burkina Faso, the homeland of revolutionary leader President Sankara, who was killed by the Europeans, the British and the Europeans and the CIA in 1984. And that country is now being led by a young revolutionary leader, maybe the youngest president in the world, Captain Traore. Then the other country is Niger, and Niger is led by General Tiani. The notable thing about these countries is that the governments are now using the resources to benefit their countries. In Burkina Faso, among other things, they have increased the price of gold significantly. I don't have the exact figure. And in Niger, the price of uranium, the government has increased from less than €1 to over 200 euros per kilo on the world market. So that France literally was taking away their uranium for decades and giving them less than $1 and using it to generate their own electricity and selling it on the world market for over 200 euros per kilo. The other country is Gabon, and in Gabon, the Colonel Nguema, they have focused largely on the corrupted Bonga family and the people around him, and they have arrested a whole bunch of them, recovered over so far, and it's the most recent one this year. I think it was in July or August, in August of this year. They have recovered over millions of stolen dollars and over 300 vehicles which are being distributed to public agencies, schools and universities and health centers and so on and so on.
Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sky and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life.
Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel and share it with your contacts. Thank you.